Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Also, welcome to Friday Fun Day. Now, for today's Friday Fun Day, as you can see, we're going to be doing the trim, what I call the fancy trim on our blanket. So what we've done is these are the squares from our year-long crochet along for 2024. In step 1, we put all the squares together, and then in step 2 we did a simple single crochet trim showing how you do that with these extra sections where we joined our squares together, and then we added a simple open trim, and this is going to give us our foundation for our fancy trim that we're going to do today. Because this is a beautiful blanket and I think it deserves a fancy trim. But don't worry, it's not too extravagant. It just gives it a little more pizzazz. And we're still using the same yarn that we've been using. Now, if you want the links for all the squares, I'll put that link as well as the video link for how we joined our squares together and the video link for step 2 for how we did the trim. I'll put all of those links down in the notes underneath this video. All right, so you'll have all the information you need to make a blanket. Now remember, all of the squares are 6-inch squares, and you're going to need a total of 30 for this blanket. But if you want a bigger blanket, make as many squares as you want to off of all of those squares. And even you don't have to do this with these squares. You can use whatever 6-inch squares that you want. These squares are from our 2024 crochet along. We did 2 for each month, and then we did an additional 6 with our solid, and that link will be down underneath this video as well, how to do the solid square with our yarn that we chose that we're stitching it all together with. And this is the yarn that I chose. So we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, so all the links that you'll need to complete our blanket will be down in those notes underneath this video. All right, so just a quick recap on the yarns. I chose all acrylic medium weight number 4 yarns to make my squares and to put my squares together, and also for today. Of course, these are all different brands of medium weight number 4 acrylic that I had on hand for all of my squares. And then my solid square and my joining yarn and my trim yarn are this Scramble from SUNDANCE. I bought it through Herrschners. It is a medium weight number 4 yarn, and it is acrylic. Okay, and I just chose it because it's very colorful, and I think it's perfect for what I've got going on here. All right, and for the whole project, some of the squares are done in an H, which is a 5mm. Some are done in an I, which is a 5.5mm. Depends on the style and how we did them. So, but those are all listed in all of those patterns. Okay, for our trims and joining together, and what we're doing today, we're using the H hook, which is a 5mm. You need a needle for weaving in ends, and of course a pair of scissors. All right, so let's get started on adding our fancy trim. And just a reminder, this trim that we're doing on our blanket can be used on anything that you want just a nice trim on, like a scarf or the edge of a bag, or maybe around the bottom of a hat. It's just a neat trim. It's different than what you see a lot. Okay, so we did that row of single crochet all the way around our blanket, and then we did this row of the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 all the way around that. So now we're all set up for what we're going to do for our fancy trim. All right, so what we're going to do for the first row of our fancy trim is we're going to single crochet in the chain 1 space. Okay, then we're going to stitch a front post double crochet around the post of our double crochet. We're still stitching a double crochet, we're just going around the post instead of the top. Okay, so single crochet in the chain one space, front post double crochet around the double crochet. And we'll do this all the way around all four sides. Now we usually stitch up here in the top of our double crochet, but we're not doing that. We're going around the post of our double crochets. All right, so single crochet, front post double crochet. And we're going to do this all the way around, like I said, all four sides. But when we get to that first corner, I'm going to show you what to do because it's a little bit different on the four corners, okay? So let's front post double crochet, single crochet, alternating all the way across our row to that first corner. And remember, have a little fun. So now we have stitched that pattern all the way up the first side of our blanket. Front post double crochet in the double crochet, single crochet in the chain one spaces all the way up to the corner. Now it doesn't matter if you ended with a front post double crochet or a single crochet. That doesn't matter. What we're going to do in the corner is we're still going to front post double crochet around the double crochet, single crochet in that chain one space, and then front post double crochet around that around that double crochet. Okay, and that makes our corner nice and neat, and it eases it around. And then we just go right back doing what we were doing down the next side. Single crochet in the chain one space, double crochet front post around the double crochets. All right, and that's the way that the corner is worked. And then we'll do this all the way around our whole blanket, stitching our corners this way and doing this, what we've been doing for our first row of our fancy trim. All right, so let's get busy, get it done, and I'll meet you back. And we'll join up to that first stitch. So I have stitched this portion of the trim, front post, single crochet, alternating all the way around. And I really love how it gives it that little extra oomph there. So here's my last corner. We're going to front post around that double crochet. We're going to single crochet in that corner, and then front post, of course, around that double crochet. And then I have a single crochet. We have completed the corner, front post, single crochet, front post, and then we single crocheted in that stitch, and now we need a front post around that last stitch. We're going to join to our single crochet with a slip stitch and then slip stitch in that next double crochet. All right, so now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip the single crochet and single crochet in the double crochet front post stitch. All right, now the next stitch we're going to do, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to slip stitch in the third stitch and chain 2. We're going to skip the single crochet and then single crochet in the top of that front post double crochet. And see how that gives us that picot stitch there? And so what we're going to be doing is alternating our chain 3 and then our chain 2 picot, chain 2. All right, so now we'll chain 3. We'll skip the single crochet and single crochet in that front post double crochet. Then chain 4. Slip stitch in the third chain. Chain 2, and then single crochet in the next front post double crochet. And this is going to give us just a fun little edge around our blanket. Now, if you're not into the picot stitches, it's okay. You can alternate a 3 chain 1, 2, 3, and then a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. if you want to, so that it's not all the same and you get different levels there, that's fine too. I just really love pico stitches. I think they add so much fun to the edges of things. And so what I'm doing around my edge is I'm alternating the chain 3 and the chain 2, pico chain 2, and we're joining those in on all the double crochet front posts, not the chain 1 or not the single crochets in between. All right, and it's going to make just a beautiful edge and a little bit fancy. And that's kind of what I was looking for the edge of this blanket, because I wanted it to dress up a little bit, because it is a beautiful blanket and it has a lot going on. And so I wanted the trim to also have a lot going on. All right. I love it. I love how it lays. So you put it against a darker background here so you can see it well. I do. I love how it lays. So all the way around our entire blanket, single crochet, skip the single crochet here, chain 3, single crochet, your double crochet front post, chain 4, pico, chain 2, and repeat all the way around. All right, let me work one more or 2 or 3 so you can see what I'm doing again. I'm going to do this against this purple so you can see it. All right, so we're going to chain 4, slip stitch in the 3rd, chain 2, single crochet in the top there of that front post double crochet, and chain 3, and single crochet, my voice is getting tired, in the top of the next front post double crochet. So you're always single crocheting in the front post double crochets and always skipping all of the single crochets in between. And it can go pretty fast once you get going. And I think that along with the way we did this and all the other things, it's just a really great and fun edge for this blanket. All right, and you're just going to go all the way around, easing around the corners until you're all the way back up here where we started, and join back to that first single crochet. I completed this first side all the way down, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Look how it looks going around this corner. Isn't that beautiful? I think you're really going to like this, and it's just going to add that extra pizzazz along with this blanket. I just love it. I wanted you to see how beautiful that looks. I got a little bit more crocheting to do before I finish this last row of our fancy trim, but it definitely is fancy. So I have completed the fancy trim around the whole edge of my blanket. I'm going to join in just a second, but I wanted you to see how beautiful it is. And I really like this trim because it's beautiful on the front side and the back side. It's just lovely and beautiful. And it's just so fancy, and I think it's just a perfect thing that this blanket needs. And I also love this yarn that I chose because it has such pretty colors in it. And I think all these colors complement all the colors in the blanket. And of course, they tie in with how we joined and did the beginning portions. All right, now one thing I wanted to say is once you've gone all the way around your blanket, you may not end up with the chain 3 alternating with the chain 4, pico, chain 2, because you may not have the exact amount, but it's okay. Because see here I've got my pico one, and then I went ahead and chained 3, and I'm just going to go ahead and join to that first stitch. Okay, it's still going to look really pretty. if you ended with one of these or the chain 3. It still works just fine. And you can finagle that just a little bit if you wanted to, but I'm not. I think it still looks really pretty. It's not an issue. And then we'll just go ahead and tie that off. And then, of course, I will need to weave in this end. And I found I have a few more that I didn't get weaved in. So I'm going to be working on that as well. But this is the end of our 2024 crochet along blanket. And I absolutely love how it all turned out. I love the trim. I love the joins. And I love all the squares. So that's it. We're done with our 2024 crochet along.